let me introduce myself. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining, and thanks for this webinar, conducting this webinar. Thanks for setting this up. So basically, my name is Kanishk, and I am head of tax technology at Suntech. So I run a team who built the e-invoicing solution, UAE invoicing solution for Suntech. So our team was busy building this solution since last year. So Suntech has been doing e-invoicing since 5 to 6 years. We have been doing e-invoicing in 3 countries. We did it in India, we did it in KSA, and then we also did it in Jordan. So this will be our fourth country where we are launching for e-invoicing services. So for e-invoicing, the way we have been differentiating ourselves from other players. So for UAE, since the model is very different, the model is very new, first of its kind. So we have built a whole new platform specifically for the purposes of serving the e-invoicing needs in UAE. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to walk you through this solution. Okay, I hope my screen is absolutely visible now.
Yes.
All right. So first of all, like who is Suntech Global? Suntech Global is a UAE-based technology and advisory group. So we deal with a lot of services in parallel. So we are first and foremost about technology, where we build a lot of technology solutions. We have an ERP and point of sale software for the jewelry market that we have been operating since 2007. And then outside of that, we started working on building industry agnostic solutions in tax technology, starting with e-invoicing. And also, we are working on other solutions like building tax determination engines, because tax determination is a very big problem in the market. So we are also working on building a solution for that. But outside of this, we also have an advisory and professional services group where we deal with variety of clients in variety of sectors, and we help them with auditing services and professional services in general. And then we go beyond implementation. We help businesses in UAE and in general Middle East succeed, whether be it a compliance thing, be it regulatory changes, or be it general efficiency reasons. We help our clients succeed in whatever way we can. And then these are some of our recent credentials. We got pre-approved by FTA to operate as an e-invoicing service provider. And also, we built our in-house PEPPOL service. So that makes us PEPPOL-certified for both kinds, for access point as well as for SMP. And I can happily answer that if anyone has any questions about, what is AP or what is SMP. But these two are prerequisites to become an ASP. If you don't have AP or SMP certificate, then it's a prerequisite basically to become a certified ASP. Then moving on, what sets us apart? So the very first block here is about our clientele. So we serve 600 plus businesses in UAE. So we are built in UAE and we are built for UAE. And that's what our goal has always been. And then, as I already told about, we have live e-invoicing operations in multiple countries, certified PEPPOL access point. And then the very last point, which is very important, is like we have a cross-functional team which is in-house and based out of UAE. So we do have people who work in taxes, so they can easily give us that point of view about tax compliance. And then we have accountants in-house. We have VAT registered agents in-house. And then we also have security and support team, all based out of UAE. Because I think the difference is like the market UAE is very different. So our people understand the mindset and how to work with local customers. Then moving on, why choose Suntech? We are UAE based team with on ground expertise. And next point is technology leadership. So, our whole team who built this e-invoicing solution, especially for UAE, uh, all comes from global companies. Like myself, I used to work for Amazon. And then eventually I transitioned to Suntech to help them build this e-invoicing platform. And also outside of that, we have people working with us who used to work for companies like Oracle and Meta. So our team is very engineering oriented, so that we are able to build and serve customers at scale. So our system is very resilient and built with people like who build these systems at other companies. Then like in other ERPs, you might see ASPs, you might see that the technology team, they bring in a lot of technology expertise, but they rely on someone else for tax or regulatory expertise. But here we are like all in one solution for a customer. If you have any tax question, we have tax people in house. If you have any technology questions, we have technology people in house. So I think this is about Suntech. I mean, these are some of the other things. Like we are FTA compliant, and we also support our solution in Arabic language. And then we are also AI native by design. Yeah, we have been using AI to operate, as well as we are building AI features on top of our platform. Then moving on, I would like to show you a few things about, what is e-invoicing. I think at the start and also in your questionnaire, you asked audience about, whether what kind of e-invoicing or invoicing do they currently do today. And I see a heavy percentage of audience voted for PDF or scanned images. Uh, so just want to clarify. So let's start with the very basic. Like invoice is not new. Invoice has been around ever since, businesses have been around. It's just a way of, businesses talking to each other and letting each other know like what kind of services am I rendering to you and what kind of, commercial terms are there on that document. So initially, the world was working on paper invoice. World was good, everything was working fine. And then, someone came along and said, we can definitely improve efficiency. And then computers came along. So people started building a digital version of an invoice. So they started building invoices on PDF, images, or Word documents, as simple as that. But later on, even that had problems because uh, invoices were not standardized. Every invoice, every company had their format, they had their own data. So no one was dictating what should be on an invoice. So, and it was a problem mainly because if systems are talking to each other, then there is not a uniform way for systems to interpret each other. So there came along a technology for standardization. So what essentially it means is that if you restrict the number of fields on an invoice, if you standardize the fields on an invoice so that every business is using those same set of fields when they say invoice, it becomes an e-invoice, and the standard of fields is provided to businesses by that tax authority of that country. So it's the same thing, but it's like the number of fields are restricted to whatever the tax authority is saying. So e-invoice is digital, but what it means is that it has a set of fields which are mandated by the tax authority. So every PDF is not an e-invoice, but every e-invoice can be converted into a PDF invoice. Okay. Then in terms of the benefits, it helps us with the structured way of doing business. It is machine readable. Then on top of it, it can be exchanged over internet in a standardized way. And then it helps businesses achieve continuous compliance because that is by design. In addition, it also helps in reduction of invoice processing cost. When you look at any business, there are people who are working on the AR side of the house or maybe AP side of the house. Mainly their job is to, either send invoices or, deal with incoming invoices. So a lot of people, a lot of businesses invest a lot of time when it comes to invoice processing. But the promise with e-invoicing is that in the long term, it's going to help you improve efficiency so that you don't need to direct a lot of people working just for invoice processing across your business. Then, in addition to that, it also leads to faster payment cycles. Yeah, I will stop. Yes, Manoj.
Yeah. I just have one question. Other than compliance, which is
Hmm.
mandatory coming Jan 1st of 2027, you mentioned about some advantages. So
Correct.
in other countries which have already gone to e-invoicing, what is the benefits that businesses see And what is the benefit that government sees?
Got it. Got it. So I will first talk about the benefit to a business. I will talk in a very simple language. So let's say in the traditional way, let's say you were sending invoices through email or through WhatsApp or any of these channels. So you used to send this invoice to the other party, and other party might say that I did not receive your invoice. I did not find it. I was not able to see it. Hence, there could be a delay in payment because you might have to send an invoice again to them so that they can find it, easily locate it. So a very
Mhm.
simple example is like in this new world, when you send an invoice to other party, they cannot say they did not see it because there is a proof that it was successfully delivered to the other party. And since they saw that invoice, it is possible that they are going to remit you the payment faster as compared to the previous world that you were dealing in. So over the long term and or at a volume, it is going to help you collect the payments faster, and it is going to help you improve the cash flow. Okay. And now talking about the other side of it, how it is helping government. So so the way UAE they have adopted a five corner model. So in five corner model, what happens is businesses will keep on exchanging invoices with each other. And then on the side, they will just get a notification that something took place. Again, for an analogy, I would say, like, let's say when I send an email to you, okay, and then I can also add someone in CC or BCC as an extra recipient. Okay, I don't need to send another email. I can just add it in the CC or BCC block. Similar to that, when a seller is sending an invoice to a buyer, they will just do it that way. And then behind the scenes, addition of tax authority to the CC block or BCC block will be done by ASP. Okay. So they don't need to send it twice. They don't need to send it many times. They just send it once, and behind the scenes, government will get a copy of it. So the benefit to the government is like at a macro level, they can know who is doing business with whom, how businesses are transacting with each other, which sector is growing. So they can observe things at a macro economic level, as well as if needed, they can also go in at a company level to know what is going on. I hope that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay.
Others, please, if you have any doubts, please raise your hands or please feel to interrupt and ask questions.
Okay. I will move on. So I will come to like what are the different kind of e-invoicing models. So first of all, this concept of e-invoicing is not new. It is new for UAE, but in general, globally, this is like a 20-year-old concept. The history goes back to 2005 when it got started in Brazil. Brazil was the first country where e-invoicing got started, and then followed by Mexico, and then a lot of European countries came along. India implemented this just after GST reform back in 2017, 18 timeframe. And then over the years, you will notice a lot of other countries are coming onto this wagon saying, they want to implement e-invoicing. So from the government point of view, what they have observed is like wherever e-invoicing has been successfully implemented, it is better for all the parties and stakeholders who are involved. Government gets information about the transactions happening in their country, so they are able to stop something called VAT fraud. They are able to close that VAT fraud gap, and they are able to essentially, collect the right amount of taxes. Let's say a government plans that this year I will get X amount of taxes, but realistically they are getting only 60% of X. So 40% is the gap. So with this in place, they might be able to collect 90% of X. So to them, because ultimately they will use that money to help the country grow. So for governments, it's a no-brainer. So that's why every government is running after it. But looking at the models, since UAE is coming onto this bandwagon in 2026, so they learned a lot from other countries. Mainly, I would like to focus on the Model B here, which is the most common model and has been implemented in India and Mexico and other countries. So here what happens is, so as a business, you send an invoice to the government first, and government is going to send you back a code, a QR code or some kind of a reference code, which you are going to paste it on your invoice, and then you will send that invoice to the other party. So if you notice, government is in the center, and government is governing that when the invoice transmission will occur or exchange will occur. Whereas in the last model, in the decentralized model, government is out of picture. And government is saying you will have to send your invoices through something called a service provider, because service provider is like a proxy, I would say a proxy node of a tax authority. So you send your invoice to the service provider. Service provider is going to ensure that this invoice is successfully transmitted to the tax authority as well as to the other party. So here there is no obligation of getting any code or any unique reference number or QR code from the government authority. Government is on the side, they are not in the center. So that's what the main model and the difference is. So if you want to take just one thing from this slide, I would say there are two models, centralized and decentralized. UAE is following this decentralized approach, which is going to be more comprehensive and more robust approach in general. And then moving along, this is the UAE e-invoicing implementation timeline. So as you might be aware, very recently, the date to appoint an ASP for the phase one clients has been moved to October 30th. It used to be July 31st earlier, but now it has been moved to October 30th. So what it means is, like, if you have a business whose revenue is more than 50 million dirham for the last year, then by October 30th, you will have to mandatorily appoint an ASP so that you can let the FTA or MOF know that through which ASP will you be sending your invoices and receiving your invoices. Because with this model, it's not only about sending of an invoice, also receiving of an invoice will happen through an ASP. So you will have to appoint an ASP through your Emara tax portal by October 30th. And then on January 1st is when everything goes live. Like from January 1st onwards, if you want to send an invoice to any other business in UAE, then you will have to do through an ASP. So January 1st, 2027 will be the go live date for phase one clients. And then for phase two clients, it will be 3 to 6 months after. So that's how like this whole implementation timeline will move along. Any questions here? Because I think a lot of people might have questions on the implementation timeline, or how much time does it take to implement and everything.
I can share. Manoj, I got one message which says from Javed, explain sale return, PO return, credit note, supports from vendor, rebate, etc. So in each of these document cases, who submits and who does the initiative on reporting to the government? Maybe that is what he meant. Jabir, you can add if the question what I said is not clear. It's in the chat.
Okay,
Kanishka.
let me see. Sure, let me see.
Maybe I can share it.
Okay, I'm not able to see the window.
Okay, so he's saying explain sales return, PO return, credit note. Who submits the invoice document? From my understanding, it is whoever generates it.
Yeah. So let me take this one. Okay. So first of all, this e-invoicing is not only about invoices. Okay. So it's a general e-document network. So let's say you have an invoice, or you have a credit note, or you have a self-billing invoice, or you might have a self-billing credit note. So these four documents are currently supported or should be supported by every ASP in the market. So let's say you send an invoice to the other party doesn't like the commercial terms, and you want to cancel it. So what you will do is, you as a seller is going to send a credit note to your ASP to that same other party, which is going to transmit credit note through the network to their ASP, and their ASP is going to send it to the buyer. So that's how the credit note is going to work. And then in terms of receiving it, so let's say you have a vendor. So even your vendor will have to appoint an ASP through which they can transfer this invoice or credit note to me. Like if I have a vendor, they will have to mandatorily appoint an ASP in order to send invoices or credit notes to any other customers that they are dealing with. So I hope I was able to make it clear, at least partially, on this one. I was able to speak on invoice and credit note. Currently, PO is not under this purview of any e-document transfer. As of today, it is not. So the only documents which will be transferred through your ASP will be invoices and credit notes.
And Revati had a question. So she was asking, along with invoice, is it possible to submit supporting documents like timesheets?
Sure, I think I will let Piyush take this question. Piyush is also from Suntech.
Yeah, so basically you can there's a field where you can attach all the supporting documents to that invoice, and that will be transferred along with the whole invoice. So you can send any attachment with it.
Is it a mandatory feature or is it
No, it
optional
is
from
it is
Suntech?
optional.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Kanis, Anupam this side. So I would like to check what type of ERP requirements are necessary for onboarding an ASP as such.
Sure, I think that's a very good question. So let me just open another slide of us. Okay. I think, are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, I see UAE invoicing implementation timeline.
What about now?
Now also same invoicing.
Oh, okay. One second. 1 second. Okay, perfect. So basically, what I think this question has been coming a lot, that what kind of integration mechanisms exist out there? Like if you are a business, right? How do you integrate with your ASP? That is very simple to think about and wonder about, how am I going to do all of this? So as an ASP, every ASP is going to provide you with different methods, different methodology of connecting your business with an ASP. But the answer is not straightforward. It really depends on the current state of your business. It will depend on things like, first of all, are you using any kind of ERP or not? Are you using any kind of billing system or not? Are you using any kind of software or not? And the next question will be, do you have any IT team in-house? Do you have at least one or two people who work in IT at your business? Or maybe do you have access to IT resources or not? Because that is going to significantly help you navigate in the right direction when it comes to integration. And then the more simple case could be that you don't have any IT team and you don't want to integrate. You just want to use a portal for integration. Like you just want to come to a web application, upload your invoices there, and you want that system to magically just send it to FTA so that you remain compliant as well as your partner gets an invoice. So there are four methods that we have come up with. So the very first method is ERP native. In ERP native, there is going to be a very tight integration with your ERP. Like today, let's say you are using SAP or Microsoft Dynamics, and you don't want to move to another application because for whatever reason, you don't want to learn a new application or you don't want to deal with another application. So in those cases, what is going to happen is there is going to be a custom development work within your existing ERP where an ASP is going to work with your IT team or whosoever person who is handling your ERP, and they are going to write a custom logic, custom code to make changes in your ERP so that you don't have to go outside of your ERP when it comes to e-invoicing. So what is going to happen is you might have an invoicing section in your in your current ERP. Over there, you will start seeing a checkbox for e-invoicing. It will be as simple as clicking that checkbox so that behind the scenes, all the e-invoicing work is ultimately being done by ASP, but you don't have to move out of your ERP. So this is going to be a best option for teams who do not want to move out of their ERP experience. And secondly, it is recommended if you have a very high volume. And when I say high volume, let's say every day you are generating 5,000 invoices, or let's say 10,000 invoices. In those cases, it is highly recommended that you go for this option. And this integration can be built by your team, or it can also be built by our team. But typically, this is going to be the most time-consuming work. At the very least, it's going to take you about 20 weeks. So the second interface, which is also very popular, it's like we have built an API for our ASP platform. Okay. So at a very high level, ASP is just doing two things: send invoice, receive invoice. So we have something called an application programming interface called as API. So if you have an IT person, they should be able to very easily integrate with our API so that they can build a small tool in your environment, or they can build a screen in your application so that they can integrate with our API for the purposes of e-invoicing. The third option is the Suntech managed approach. This is like a middleware approach where what we do is we just ask you a few things. Let's say you don't want to integrate with us either through native ERP, or you don't want to integrate your API with us. So at the very least, what you will have to do is you have to somehow provide your data to us. Either you can provide your invoices in a file folder, which we can pick at a certain frequency and then do e-invoicing on each one of them. Or secondly, you can give us access to a data table or a database. It should not be your primary database. It could be a secondary data store that you might maintain. You just keep on writing data to that data table, and we will just automatically pick that data for the purposes of e-invoicing. So that is going to be the Suntech managed approach. In this one, what we have done is we have built something called a middleware uh, application, or a software, where what we do is we manage it automatically on behalf of our customer, and we do things like retry, and we take care of the error handling and everything. So that is going to be the Suntech managed approach. And the fourth approach is the manual one, where we provide you with a web application. You can simply go to a web application. You can upload your invoice, click a button, it will be e-invoiced. Similarly, it will be very similar to your email box. Like you send in emails, you receive emails. So very similar to that, that will be a dedicated email box for your invoices. So that is going to be the fourth option. So I will stop here. I think someone asked me about this question, so I came to this slide. So I hope I was able to answer that.
Yes, that's quite helpful. Thank you.
There are
Perfect.
some other questions which has come. Maybe it is a good time to answer that also on the comment box. So Jabir again asked, I am being a retailer. I understand that I don't need to submit any document for my purchases. But what about goods return? What about credit notes for promotion support? Do I submit to ASP or to the vendor?
So basically, the invoice sending way has changed. If you share any invoice outside ASP, for example, you just email the invoice to your vendor. That is not an official invoice anymore, because after the compliance regulations kick in, the valid invoice document will be which is transferred over the network. The vendor should receive the invoice via the network only.
And one more question from Remiz. What about businesses who just deal B2C? Are they required to appoint an ASP?
No, they are not required to appoint an ASP at this stage. So in UAE, so the only type of transactions which are under the purview of e-invoicing will be B2B to start with. At a later stage, it might happen, but for phase one or phase two, you are not required to choose an ASP. But there are other countries, for example, Oman and Qatar, they just announced that for them, all invoices should be going through an ASP. But in UAE, that is not the case. So short answer is no.
Kanishka, I have a different view here.
Mhm.
See, I am a business. I am selling to customer, but I have to buy from somebody.
Yeah.
That
I'm just talking about sending part. I'm just talking about the
okay.
sending part, like if you are sending it. But for receiving
Uh-huh.
it, yes, you need to choose an ASP.
Yeah. So and you need to have only one ASP for buying and selling.
Yes.
So that means you definitely there is no option.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Manoj, for clarifying that. I've clarified that on the chat as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Correct. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions which were not answered?
One
And I
more
have one
question,
question,
Kanishk.
Kanishka.
Mhm.
Sorry, Anupam, go ahead.
Yeah, one more question. So, is there any requirement, like if some company has not a lot of invoicing doing, in a year they are doing maybe 20 to 30 invoices only, then is there anything where government has given some relaxation or as such?
Yes. So just to make it clear, every ASP should be providing you with 100 invoices free per year, per 10. Okay. 100 e-invoices per 10 per year are free of cost from any ASP. You don't need to pay anything.
Uh, any other charges like platform charges or anything?
There might be like, because day one, you will need to get an identifier in the network. Okay. So
Okay.
that identifier is something called a PEPPOL ID. Okay. So if
Mhm.
you don't have a PEPPOL ID, you will have to talk to your ASP to get you a PEPPOL ID. It's like, let's say you go to tax authority and get your new TIN number or TRN, right? Very similar to that.
Understood.
PEPPOL ID is something that you need to get. So the pricing might vary from ASP to ASP. That will be a little bit of cost, but outside of that, sending and receiving of invoices should be free of cost if the volume is very low.
Great. Thank you.
And is there any option in your platform where now I'm doing manual invoices, so I can go to
Mhm.
your system and then type my item number and rate and then the final
Yes.
value and then I can create invoice.
Yeah, I think it will be good. Let me show you a live experience, okay, how
Okay.
that application works. I think that will also clarify a lot of things for a lot of people here.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, just one moment. I will set it up. Okay, just give me 10 seconds. I'm just preparing a payload which I will be sending.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so something like this will be provided by your ASP. So this is called, we call it a user portal or a customer portal. So the main goal and purpose of this application is to help you stay aware about your e-invoicing obligations. Like you might want to send an invoice, you might want to receive an invoice, you might want to look at the statistics of e-invoices which happened in last 10 days, 1 month, 10 months, whatever, right? So you would like to know who sent you an invoice. You would like to, basically, you want to see everything related to e-invoicing. So this is the place where you will come. And also, when you onboard an ASP, like let's say you go to MR Tax and you choose Suntech as your ASP. So this is the application where you will have to come to so that you can create your email ID and password. Okay. So for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to log in through my email ID. So I'm going to, so as soon as I logged in, you can see it's not able to let me in. It is asking for one more code. So this is like an OTP that is sent on your device so that even if you forget your email ID password or if someone else get access to it, they should not be able to come to this application very easily. So I just select it. So now that I am successfully logged in, so the very first page that I see here is list of all the organizations for which I have onboarded Suntech as my ASP. Okay. So let's say for the purposes of this demo, I have two entities, 9911, which is my first entity, and 17224 is my another entity. So let's say today I want to send an invoice from my entity ending in 1724 to entity ending in 9911. Okay, for this demo. So this is one company, this is another company. Both of them are onboarded onto PEPPOL network. So I come here. So the very first thing that you see is like you start seeing data about your invoices, e-invoices. For the period of, let's say, April 1st to May 30th, these were the total of invoices that you sent as a seller, and these were the invoices that you received as a buyer from other parties in UAE. Then let's say you want to send an invoice. So this is the email box I was talking about. This is an email box for sending invoices, and this is an email box for receiving invoices. So let's say for sending invoices today, you want to send an invoice. So you will just simply click on this button called Create Invoice. So this is the experience that you were talking about earlier, whether can you create an invoice and send it to the other party? So the short answer is yes. You can come here, you can click on that today you want to create a credit note or you want to create a tax invoice. You want to create a self-billing credit note or a self-billing invoice. So you can select whatever document that you want to create. You can start populating things like invoice name, invoice number, what is the issue date of this invoice, and then you can select currency. You will start populating all this information so that and don't get scared by so much information that you have to populate because a lot of it is optional. Whatever is mandatory is going to be have this asterisk, red asterisk. Okay. So once you populate all this information, then you are going to populate the seller information, like seller information will be your information from which company you are sending. Then buyer information will be information about the other party. Then you will start adding line items. And then the very last step will be review and submit. So this is one way of creating an e-invoice. The second way could be that I already, let's say you do your invoicing currently in Excel today. Okay. So you continue to do that. One-time exercise that you will have to do with our team is you will have to work with our team to convert your Excel invoice into a UAE format, pint UAE format, they call it. Okay. Let's say you do that. So the output of that, you will just upload it here. Okay. And then I just enter name of this invoice, which I call it webinar May 15th invoice 001. Okay. And I have uploaded some data here. As soon as I click on submit, and remember, I'm sending this invoice from 1724 to 9911. So it should be in the outbox of this entity and inbox of the other entity, and we will see it. Okay. If I click on submit, what's going to happen is it's going to do something called validation. Okay, because if the data is not correct, there is no point sending it to anyone because some obvious things are missing because of which the validation will fail. Okay, and it failed. It says at least one VAT breakdown is required. Okay, so in this case, you need to do something. What will you do? You will go back and then you will start looking at the section of VAT and then you will add that data and then you will re-upload it again. So for this demo, what I will do, I will just get an invoice so that it becomes successfully transmitted. Just 1 second.
This is the kind of challenges that people will face when they're starting to use it, right? Well, some errors will
Correct.
come, they need to learn it.
Correct. Because initial period will be a lot about adjusting and improving your processes, improving the data that you currently have. But I think after 1 or 2 or 3 months, it becomes quite automatic. You don't have to even think about it. Okay.
If the ERP integration is done, so once you click in the ERP, it will automatically come here and then go here.
Yes, yes. For ERP integration, you don't have to do anything here. It will automatically flow to our system. You can come to this application to know whether everything was good or bad. Okay, whether it was successfully sent to the other party or not, things like that. So as you can
And
see,
what's
it has started validating, and then it also fetched information from the document that you submitted to me. In this case, some supplier party who is trading as party trade name, like just a dummy name, it is sending to a buyer named Noor Electronics. And then these are the line item information, VAT information. And then there is also a supporting document that we have attached to it. Then let's say, okay, validation is successful. Okay. And it says tax authority has already accepted it. Because remember, as an ASP, we provide you with a service that we are going to send it to the trading partner as well as to the authority. So we provide you with that level of visibility so that you can know whether everything was transmitted successfully or not. Because you should not wonder that you sent it to the other party. Was it sent to government or not? Or maybe you sent to government but did not send to the other part. So it's like this is the place you come to when you want to be assured that everything happened successfully. Okay. So it is still trying to send it to C3. And remember, this is not my production account. So that is why it is taking a long time. But in real life, when my things are in production, like we have done some testing with the team in terms of how much time does it realistically takes. Because it depends on a lot of factors. It also depends on whether ASP of the other party is performing well or not. Because if they are not up to the mark, then I'm I'm at their mercy of them doing well and send me back response in time. So assuming both parties are in their best ability, then it should take anywhere between 3 to 5 seconds. Okay. As you can see, in the meantime, we were talking, this is successful. It got accepted by the other party. And now if we go to the other party, if we go to the received invoices section, you will see that in the received invoices, there is a new invoice named webinar 15th invoice 001, which was sent to me by someone named party trade name. And then you can see while receiving it, I also validated successfully and I also reported it to the tax authority. So that's how this loop works end to end from the supplier side as well as from the receiver side. So I will stop here. Any questions? And last thing, you can also download a PDF like this. And then you should be able to see this invoice in a PDF form. So that now you received a new e-invoice, you convert it into PDF, and then you can send it to anyone you want because today you are operating in PDF maybe. Okay. So this was about my sending and receiving of e-invoice experience. One last thing, realistically, you might have, let's say, end of the day, you want to just upload all your invoices and let it go for e-invoicing. So for that, we have something called a bulk upload feature. You can just simply, we give you a template in Excel. You populate that Excel template, just upload it here, and then we are going to do e-invoicing on all the data that you have uploaded. Maybe you have 10 invoices per day. So you just upload your invoices and they will be good to go for e-invoicing purposes. So yeah, so this is how our experience looks like when it comes to sending and receiving of e-invoices.
There is one question. Let me check what it was. Okay. Ramesh was asking, can you please provide any reference to the MOF for that, for the fact that you said B2C appointing ASP for receiving the invoices? Thing is, we don't want to create a panic for our SME clients, and we also can't overlook those cases if the necessity is real. And is there a gap between the implementation of phase 1 and phase 2 businesses? And it's obvious that phase 1 business will be doing transaction with phase 2 businesses. So if this is the case, phase 2 business will also have to appoint the ASP to receive the invoices before the actual timeline. So that's a valid question that I also have, the second part.
Yeah. So I will
Like,
answer.
if I am
Yeah, I will answer, like, I think a lot of questions in one question. So I will answer it step by step. And then I think Piyush, you can assist me if I miss on anything. So this is a very valid and logical use case. Let's say you are a phase 1 client and the other party is in phase 2. Okay, so they don't have to appoint any ASP or anything. So in those cases, what will happen is, so like Ministry of Finance and FTA, they have already thought about it. So what they will do, they will give you a fixed ID of the other party. So let's say whosoever is not onboarded to PEPPOL network yet, they will have a fixed ID. So in the buyer code, you're going to use that dummy ID or a fake ID. Okay. And then you're going to send it to your ASP so that your ASP can at least send it to FTA to let FTA know that, some e-invoicing activity took place for a phase 1 client. And then to your client, you're going to send it as you were doing earlier. Am I making sense?
can you repeat it
Just to
once
add
again,
to
please,
that,
for that clarity?
just to add to that, so basically, if your buyer is in phase 2, you will only be sending to the tax authority, which is C5. So, Kanish, can you go back and show the invoice detail document where we have C3 and C5? Invoice detail, any invoice, yeah. Yeah, so here we see that we send to the C3, right, and C5 as well. In those cases, we will only, as a ASP, we will only send it to C5. And how we will identify is that based on that fixed ID for that buyer. Yeah, the electronic address.
And if the case is reversed, like you are buying or selling to the phase 1 customer and we are in phase 2.
Yeah, same. Like if you're not onboarded, you cannot send via the network. So you will continue to use the offline channel till then.
Mr. Ramesh, does it answer your questions?
Yeah, actually, partly it answered, but it's not still clear for me, actually.
You should bring that
Yeah.
in
So
the
just
chat.
Yeah, so
No,
so I will
actually,
just yeah, please go ahead.
no, actually, the case where the B2C is supposed to appoint an ISP, but if they're only just receiving the invoices also, aren't they supposed to receive it in the traditional way only?
Like if the client, like if it is applicable in phase 1, right? So they will have to appoint the ASP to receive invoices from the network.
So I think just to add to that, the way this timeline is working, this timeline of ASP adoption is working, like it is designed when you are a seller. Okay. So if you're sending an invoice and if you satisfy all the V8, all the thresholds as far as revenue is concerned, then what FTA is saying is like you have to start sending invoices from this date. They are not saying that you have to receive it through your ASP. Like they are just uh, focusing on the sending part so that at one point everybody will get onboarded. But as of today, starting with large taxpayers, they will get onboarded. Then in the July of next year, everyone else will get onboarded. Okay. So it's like you have to send through PEPPOL, receiving you can do anyhow.
Yeah,
Okay,
actually, that was the
nice.
idea I also got. while going through
Right.
the articles.
Right. I think that is
Yeah.
the correct understanding. And we can also give you official references if you need, Ramesh. I think my email ID, someone will post it here. You can reach out to me, but
Okay.
I think this is our understanding too.
Yeah, sure. Okay, thank you.
Sure. Anything else from you, Kanishka, on presenting on as a group, as a whole group?
Yeah, I think Tushar also joined finally. I don't know, Tushar, do you want to add anything? I don't know when you joined, but I want to know.
I think just that, thank you for this initiative. I think it's a good initiative, awareness session, and Kanishka has filled in really well and he's explained all the concepts also really well. Any questions or on, from the audience about anything in particular? Happy to just answer them all because we have the entire team now. So we can straight away go to the FAQs, or if they want to also see the product. Kanishka has showed it, but any questions on the product, we can just cover that as well.
Thanks, Susha. So now we have covered the major part. So the way this meeting was structured was, if somebody want to go deeper, we have 3 breakout rooms where we can assign automatically, and then you can discuss internally, I mean, with the experts. We have 3 experts from Suntech. So what I will do, I'll just open all the rooms and then you can join automatically.